up? What's up? What's up?
How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Good. Hey, yo.
Chilling.
First and foremost, happy birthday, brother.
Thank you.
Yes, happy birthday.
The big 19. Check you out, buddy. All right then. Yo, my man. How's it feel?
Isolated.
Exactly.
Locked down.
I know you was one of them April babies, man. But you know what? Let me ask you though, since because I know you're fairly new to the game and everything. How has your year 18? How was that treating you as like a poet and getting out there? Because I know that's when you really started.
Year
to get
18.
Your name out.
Year 18 wasn't just me changing as a poet. That was a drastic change for me as a person. Like you have to understand like where I started. I mean, 18. I'm coming out of a mental institution from dealing with depression. This is like about like April when I turned 18, and that's when I'm like, let me really start putting all my energy into this, like and into my craft. Once I started doing that, things started happening quick. I first came up with the piece. You're not going to know this piece because it's really, really old, but it was a piece called Marshall Mathers. And I memorized that. And I'm like, oh, I think I'm onto something here, And then from there, I, had some other pieces. And, eventually I got over to Thread, which is, a lot of people know me for that. And like, I got like a whole routine down. I memorized so much stuff, and the culmination of like all that stuff manifested itself into the Who Are You showcase, the one that we met at in August of that year. And that's when I'm like, all right, the train is moving. We got it.
Okay. All right. So it started there pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope, dude. That's crazy. We met there. Oh, that's fucking unbelievable. Oh shit. 18 was great to you.
Yeah, 18 was just like a flick. It was like a flick of the switch. Like everything, just like it was a drastic change.
Okay, all right. So now that you're 19 and you feel like you've had a great, year 18, where do you plan on taking this one?
Oh man, I mean, I have big goals as always. The current circumstances make certain things hard, obviously.
Right.
But a lot of my big goals involve like stuff I can do for my community here in Hillsboro, where I'm at, as well as as far as my events go, because I put together, for those of you who don't know, I actually put together my own events, and I got big goals for that as well. I want to definitely try to expand into different areas. I want to try to actually get something going at Rider University now, which I have because I'm the co-president of On Fire, I have the power to do so now, which is pretty cool. But like business partnerships and stuff like that, I'm gonna try to get involved with like the Hillsboro Cultural Arts Commission, stuff like that. We did do an open mic in the Starbucks in my town. This was like literally the last event I had before everything like shut down, and it went very well. I mean, like there were a couple things that kind of like came out of nowhere that we had to deal with, like when I got there. And they put us toward, like, I had gone a week before just to like situate everything and be like, all right, here's the plan. Here's what we got to do. What do I need to know? And I did that. And like, when I was there, they didn't tell me that like the area we were in didn't have an outlet, which was like a little bit of a problem. So I'm like, so I had to, gun it home, which luckily I'm from Hillsboro. So I gunned it home, and they didn't have extension cords either. So I had to gun it home, grab extension cords, luckily, no cops were around because, I was going fast. I was on the clock, but but I did get back in time and handle all that. And I should have, like, the second thing was I kind of should have saw this coming, knowing it was Starbucks and it was like, a corporate place and all that. I should have saw this coming. I mean, I told them there were rappers there, but they threw a whole no cursing thing on me last second. And they're like, no one can curse or else we're shutting the event down. And I'm like, oh no. So I'm walking around for the rest of the event telling everybody they can't do that, like a nervous wreck. But besides all this, besides what you're hearing from me, it went very well. It peaked at like around like 40-ish people. There were kids from the town that were there. A lot of store tuning in. Got to meet some more local artists that I didn't know about, which is awesome. My man Lace Flag came out. which I was very happy about. I do consider him arguably maybe my favorite rapper in the state. Not to say you ain't up there, man.
Oh,
But
it's all good, bro. Shout out to him.
yeah, and even Mr. E came by, which was a surprise.
That's
Nice.
what's up.
See, I was expecting him to go to unfortunately, like sometimes when you do events, they kind of fall in the same time as other events. He had like a thing out in Rahway that night that was like a big slam thing, but he decided not to go through with it. He ended up going to my thing, which was pretty dope. But yeah, it's been good. It's been good with that, and like I have a plan to change. I found maybe another spot in my town. I gotta like actually talk with the people involved if I want to make that happen though. If I can't do that, I have another plan, but that's basically how it is for now. But for the next event, what I'm doing is I want to try to bring it back to Hub City Smokes because I want to have
that was a dope one.
and that one was fire. So I'm like, well, let's just have the fire one again. Let's have that one again.
Yeah, we were just talking to a John Mana before, and
Nice.
it was like we were saying before how it's like rapper Woodstock.
Yeah. I was actually even considering doing something like that, a rider, where I got like a ridiculous amount of performers, and maybe they can help us like rent out like the theater or something dope.
Nice.
Like that. Maybe, but that's just that's just a thought,
I want to actually go back into something you were talking about before because you mentioned Hillsboro a lot. Now I didn't know that's where you were from. Mm-hmm. Has Hillsboro played a big role in who you are as a poet and as an artist? Is that why you feel like you want to give back to it so much?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I mean, it's how I grew up in like the environment I grew up in, like and it's like that for everybody. It affects how you are. I just want to make it better for people like me who you growed up and had to deal with like excessive bullying and all that. And we have problems with social anxiety and mental health, and and also help the other kids in the town who are dealing with like drug problems, because there are drug issues in our town and all that. It's just stuff like that's kind of why I feel like I want to give back. But more of the reason is because I feel like I want to make it something greater than it is. Right. Because I feel like there can be so much like more positivity in the area if like I can get a lot of this stuff going. That, and it feels great for me because it's almost like I'm reversing my reputation from high school. Like it literally feels like I'm turning back the wheel, because like now kids are coming up to me from like my high school years and they're like, oh man, I never knew you could do this and all that. Understand that in high school I had low reputation. By the end of high school I had like basically no friends, that kind of situation. So it's a combination of those things.
Okay, so
high school doesn't really you'll oh sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, as you get older you realize like high school doesn't really define you at all. No, like whatsoever. Yeah, and that's definitely somewhere you don't even want to hit a peak. So
yeah.
Don't worry, you got your 20s. You got your 20s ahead of you. It'll be good times.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Kill this last teen year. You're gonna be all right, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even worry about that.
You already got some momentum. You're good.
Yeah. Now, you know what? Moving on from that. Thank you, by the way. That was a great answer to the question. Your style. Can't call it. Is it like rap style? You can't say because you're a poet.
I like to call it hip hop infused spoken word.
All right, your hip hop.
See, I had that written down.
Hip hop infused spoken word. So with your hip hop infused spoken word style, it's very reminiscent to a battle rapper.
Yeah,
I get how it's always been. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you do. So is that something that you've like just built up? Is that how just it is naturally?
It's funny you say that because it feels like when I'm doing my stuff, I feel like it's almost like I'm internally fighting my demons when I perform. Like I'm having like a fist fight. Almost like because that's the energy I emit when I do it. I try to like an old piece battle poet. I try to battle the crowd. I'm going to war with y'all. I don't want to give like I want to show what's within me. The strength I have within me. I want to portray that.
Absolutely, I like that. Yeah, it just always seems like you're going at it and just getting rougher and rougher. and dropping punchline after punchline. So it's very dope to see.
Bro, man. I actually got a crazy story about Battle Poet. Do you remember Battle Poet, by the way? That's an older one. When I get up to speak, I battle the crowd. When my voice... Yeah.
I seen the video.
Funny story about that. About the first time I did that. Because you have to understand, before that, I didn't do anything like that. I was most of my stuff was soft, you know. I didn't even have the voice either at that point that I had. You know, I was more soft spoken and all that. And I went to my main spot at the time, which is Chamber 43, which is in Highland Park. It's a record shop. They do open mics like every 2 weeks for like music and poetry, right? And I go up before, and usually I do an introduction and everything. Nothing. I just jump right into it, and people are just like, "Oh my god," you know. And by the end, people are just going crazy because they don't. A lot of them know me, and that's not something they expected from me. So that's just a crazy story about that one.
Yeah. Dope. So moving on from that, like I do like the battle rap style, and you kind of proposed something to me earlier, or I guess last year, for the Infinity Cipher. Yeah, man. So I want to talk about that. So how did the Infinity Cipher come about, and do you plan on doing more of these Infinity Ciphers once this is all cleared up?
Well, I mean, I'm a guy who I have a lot of heavy interest in culture, and I have especially like, you know, hip hop culture and just general arts culture in Jersey and all that. And I like the idea of putting together pieces that can help further that culture, to give us something to leave behind almost, you know, after we're gone, like that. And that's why I had the idea of the Infinity Cipher. So I'm like, let me get together, you know, a couple other MCs to do stuff. And like, even though I don't MC at the time, this was my mindset. You know, at least I don't MC myself, but at least I'm close enough where someone can take it as that, you know. And that was the idea for, and that's what ended up happening. As far as future ones go, I don't really know. I might just, because I can, like, I kind of got like a little grip on like rap now. Like I am at least like a lot better than like, you know, my previous attempts. But you know, if that was to formulate again, which we actually had a plan to do another one, and we had everything finished. But like it was December 2018? No, 2019. December 2019. And it was gonna be me, Mystery, Sadi, from Outliers, and who Pleiades, and one other, Third Dosage. It was gonna be all them, but like we all just got like way too busy by the end of it, and we couldn't put like the finishing like touches on everything.
Right.
But like if I was to do one again, I might just, you know, try rapping it, maybe get like a beat from like a local producer I know, you know, do something like that, because I know guys in town who are very talented producers who I would like to give a spotlight. But that's kind of in like limbo at the moment, because I just got so many other things, you know, I'm interested in.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, there's a way if everybody could just record off their phone. I'm sure they could do it. Send it in Cipher.
Oh yeah.
Compile it all together. I'm sure you get a lot of people.
Just to get something out there.
Yeah, man. Even if there's no beat, because the first one we did was an acapella anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was pretty much showcasing the bars. Everybody brought it.
Yeah. And I got like, oh, man, I'm saving up a lot of that, like, you know, tough guy, like, you know how I got some of them like tough guy rhymes, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like I'm the illest and like stuff like that, right? You know, I've been saving all that stuff up for rap, and like I got some really good stuff, believe me. The stuff I released, like the video I did, that was like that was all right. You know, I feel like I could. I told you I was like, oh, I think I did good. I really don't know. No, I didn't like how I did, because you have to understand, I'm a like super duper perfectionist. I kind of set a certain standard for myself, as you might see with my poetry. Yeah. You know, where it's like if it's not at a certain level, it's just like no, not at all. I don't even want it being seen. It's got to be really good, and it's got to be done right. But I got this like quadruple entendre.
Whoa, easy, kid. Easy.
I gotta hear this one. I gotta hear this one.
Trying to give that away now, or sorry, we gotta wait for it.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe. Do you really want to hear?
Quadruple entendre.
This
is the lyrical fix, so we might as well.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I don't talk, I do that walk like that Bombay. Lyrically, I bomb cities, bomb beaches, and bomb bays. Even your girlfriend. Yeah, that's right, I Bombay. So watch me get the planes and open up the Bombay.
All right, nigga. All right. I see where you went. Wordplay. All right.
I see the wordplay.
I see you on there.
I'm saving that up for a track in the future.
All right. Bombay. All right, nigga.
I did want to ask you though, because you mentioned earlier about how you were soft spoken before and how you got your voice now. How was the process of finding your voice, like in your writing, and then even the process of writing to music and making it more rap than spoken word?
Man, I mean that's I don't even like necessarily remember. I just remember at one point I'm just like, let's give everything. Let's just go nuts. Let's just go crazy and just use every single ounce of my voice and just I'm gonna make the crowd listen. I think I had a shift in mentality where I'm like, I want to make them listen. They have to listen. It was a shift in mentality there. And as far as rap, like I'm still like different I'm still different when I like do poetry or rap. Like I have a specific way of doing both. Is what I mean to say. I mean, with rap, what I'll say is there's some very interesting things about the process of creating rap music rather than spoken word. Spoken word, for example, the number one thing I recognized immediately, memorization. There's a difference in time it takes to memorize.
Spoken for sure.
Word, it's going to take at least a week. You're fooling yourself if you're like, I'm going to do it in a day. Like, no, you're not. No, it's going to take a week.
Rap, as a former spoken word artist, that shit is rough.
Rap on the other hand, I've memorized stuff in a day, no problem. It's just because of the flow on top of the words. That's like another way to memorize it almost. Another way to remember. So it makes it way easier to memorize. Which also like kind of answered the question for me, because I also wondered like how do rappers like they're dishing out like so many verses, like how do they do this? And I'm like, oh well, it's a lot easier to memorize. That makes sense now. All right.
Yeah, because when I first started performing, I had I had performed at the community college out in Bergen, and Bergen Community College, and the girl that I performed with, we went back and forth. That was her technique, and she didn't really write. She wrote to music, but she didn't perform to music. It was just her way of. She's like, I'm not rapping, but if I write it to music, it helps me with the memorizing. So when I was like, but you're performing it without music. She was like, the music just plays in my head. Yeah. And then just a few months ago, I was like, you know what, maybe I'll do, because a lot of people at my show wanted me to perform. I was like, I'll try out Ace Felly, his 48 Beam project really inspired me to do that switch up. So it's not really rapping. Yeah, it's more like just in the background. But I can see the difference where it still took me that same amount of time to memorize. But I'm like, okay, I get the whole, like how rappers do that shit. It's like, okay, that it's going to be this drop here and, shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Spoken word on the other hand, but like my writing process for that, it's like a living hell. It's kind of just like you're seeing just like the insanity of me. It's just like I could like literally show you like notebooks I have here. Like let me get this for you.
Bring them out.
Do it.
Bring them out. I got like crazy like pages of stuff here. Like like I got stuff written on like the side here. Like I got stuff written like diagonal, and like I'll have like, and I'm sure rappers do this too, where they have like they'll write like a blank line, because you don't know like what specific word you want. Like I go nuts. But like as far as like time for that, it used to be I used to do it. I had a work ethic about a year ago where I did like one piece a day. I don't do that anymore. Because now I set the bar so high for myself. I'm like, the next one has to be better than the last one. That's what I use. So it takes a lot more time. Sometimes it does take a day. It happens. Sometimes it takes a week. Right. Now it mostly takes a month just to get one out. And like now, as far as like where I'm going in the future with spoken word, like, how can I set the bar even further? Because my last piece, Knowledge is Power, I think that's the best piece I've ever written yet. I think that's my best one yet by far. I'm trying to figure out how to outdo that one. And I think my next step is to go into creative territory, to do something that's outside the box. And I have the perfect, like, I got the idea for it. I got the perfect piece. I've been struggling to write it, but it's the perfect idea, and it's super duper creative. It's definitely gonna work. And I got like other ideas, even for rap that I might try out, and stuff like that.
Hey, you know what, man? On some shit you just said, artist to artist, I would like to say, with what you were saying, where it takes you about a month to get some stuff out. If you feel that you have something in you, even if it's something you won't ever use, at least write it down, or if not, just at least say it. Just put it out there, get it out of your system. Don't let it just fester inside like, oh, is this dope or not? Like you're unsure. Just say it. If it feels good, put it down. If not, let that shit go. Like that's one trick I've learned if you ever want to use it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? But whatever works. Everybody has their own way of doing shit at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Oh, yo. So moving forward, now you mentioned it before, but the showcase that you had at the Hub City Skate Shop, man, fucking legendary.
The smoke shop or the skate shop?
No, excuse me, smoke
no,
shop.
No, the smoke shop.
Yeah, I have done it at the skate shop though, and it was lit there too.
Yeah. But the one I was at, because a lot of us were there at the smoke shop.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
My God, bro, that night was legendary. That was great.
Yes.
We were talking, like I said, we were talking to John Monnett before, and we said it was like rapper Woodstock, man. Tell me how that came about, and just how you made it all happen.
Well, I should probably go back a little with Hub City Skates. Yes. It originally started there, so it's crazy how it happened. It's almost like it was meant to happen, because everything happened in a week. It was nuts. So let me start like chronologically how this happened. So I get word that there's a open mic in Hillsboro at the library. I'm like, what? An open mic in my town? Like what? Like that never happens. So I go there. It's and I meet Kyle Zamori, who ends up being my sound guy. His mom was running the open mic because she works at the library. And I say, hey man, like I'd like to put an open mic together. You want to like? I could use a sound guy. Could you help me out? Things. So it's like, yeah, sure. And that was good.
Wait, hold on. You said that was Kyle?
Yes.
Kyle. I remember Kyle. Shout out to Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was. Yeah, I remember him from the. Yeah, he was right next to me. Yeah, he's dope. Shout out to Kyle.
Yeah, and I think it might have been. I think literally the day after, but it was the same week. I know. I at least know it's the same week. I've been trying out this open mic at Dragonfly Cafe, which is no longer open, unfortunately. Not because of the virus. It's like closed down. Okay. But they had an open mic, and which it was all right. But I met some really good talent from there, including like Recurve, some other folks there too. But I was doing that right next to Dragonfly Cafe. There's this place that I kind of had my eye on, and I knew a guy who worked there that I went to high school with, and it was Hub City Skates. So I walk in one day. I'm like, hey, screw it. Let's ask. And I'm like, hey, would you guys be interested in maybe doing an open mic here? And they're like, yeah, sure, we'd love to support artists. And I'm like, immediately they were good. And I'm like, just like all that. Right, just like that. And we said it. I hit him up with a date, and then the first one just kind of it happened, and it worked really well. We got around 25 people there, which for my first open mic I was very glad to have. Yeah. And we did a second one a couple months after, which a smaller crowd, but still it was a good show. Third one, this is Hub City Smokes. I'm trying to get another skates event to happen. The problem, the owner of Skates, he was just kind of getting super busy, so it's hard for him to keep track of everything, and for him to establish dates for stuff. So what I did was all right, well, let me try. I really want to try to get a show. So I went to Hub City Smokes in New Brunswick because I'm like, all right, well, let me try one of their other businesses, right? So I go to Hub City Smokes, and I meet Dimitri, who awesome dude, love Dimitri. And immediately, I asked him about the open mic thing, and he immediately set it up. He was ready. I shot him up with a date there, and he's like, yep. It was just right away. And I'm like, oh my God, this is perfect. So, we got the event together, we got the date, and now I'm like, all right, I want to get a lot more people than I got last time, which I can definitely say now that I achieved. Yes, but as to how I did that, because a lot of people are probably wondering how I was able to get that many people. The reasoning is I think I just got a really good marketing strategy for how I did it. So, and I kind of use this for all my events now. 2 weeks before the event, personally message each and every one of the performers you want there, which for me is like as many people as possible in my DMs, just hitting them up back and forth. You know, I send the flyer first, then I send like a short little message, not a long message. I don't want y'all reading my diary. You know, just a short little message. You know, just about like, hey, I'm hosting this, come by. You know, and it's free, like whatever. You know, come by. And I hit up like loads of people about that, and then I hit them up again with the same thing a week before it happened. And then I think like a couple days before I may have hit him up. But at that point, I don't even think I did anything because there were so many people reposting the flyer that like I didn't even have to do any work. And then the event itself was like nuts. I mean, it was actually stressful before we had the event because like there were little things that like we didn't have, like we didn't know, like when we got there, we knew it was going to be small. Because we're used to doing small places. Hub City Skates, that's actually which is Hub City Somerville now, I should mention. They moved locations in Somerville, but they were small, so we're used to doing small, but that was small and that was tight, you know, and especially for the volume of people, you know, that was something we weren't expecting. But also we had to like we didn't have like we needed like an extra like extension cord that we didn't have. For one of the speakers that Kyle had, so, and we didn't have anything. So and I love them for doing this. Smokes, one of the employees, they literally like grabbed their skateboard, they bolted down to like a Walgreens or CVS or something, grab one, they're back in like 5 minutes. I'm like, I love you guys. You know, they were super helpful. Like I love those dudes. Like everyone there, and like they made it so much easier for us. Like it could have been like a million times harder, but they made that easy on us. And then at that point, the list starts filling up like crazy fast.
Yeah.
And the security guy there is like, dude, we're going to have to cap it at 40. I'm like, all right. And the other thing is, originally I'm like, all right, I want to try to get some really good talent here to draw people in. So I get some of the big slam poetry people that me and Mr. E have been doing stuff with up north. So Big Mike, who's a former HBO Deaf Poet, was on Deaf Poetry Jam, as well as Flo Mentals. Several other amazing poets were part of the New Jersey Poetry Slam team. They all came out, but by the time they were there were so many people. When I came out to them, Big Mike, he jokes to me. He's like, dude, do you own Rutgers? Like, you know. And they ended up leaving and he hit me up. He's like, dude, you don't even need us. You don't need any of our old asses. You'll be fine. And he was super cool about it, you know. And that was kind of how the night went. And for me as a host, like, you know, I had the job of keeping it moving forward. So I knew I had to just, you know, keep it going as quick as I possibly could. You know, without breaks and everything. And it was hard because I want to make sure that like before an artist gets up, I like consult with them, I talk with them, you know, just to make sure they know they're going up, because I don't want to call their name and them to, you know, not go up, obviously.
Yeah.
And, you know, most times it's not a challenge, but because of Smokes and how many people there were, you know, having to like, you know, maneuver my way through people, like, you know, guest music, he's literally like, you can just push me out of the way. And I'm like, okay.
How does guest get mentioned again? What the fuck?
Yeah. Yes, even man. Yeah.
He is Central Jersey denier though. I ain't happy about it. He's Central Jersey denier. Nah.
We're not doing this right now.
You believe in Central Jersey?
So is she.
No Central Jersey.
No, Hillsboro being in Jersey?
Yes, I believe Hillsboro is in Central Jersey.
Okay.
I'm trying to think, where the hell is Hillsboro?
So then,
you know where Franklin is? No, you know where Franklin is?
Yeah.
Right
okay, yeah, it is right there. Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, we're on the Parkway, but yeah.
So to Sade, is that North or South Jersey?
What? South. I think everything is South, though.
She thinks everything is South.
I don't know. I mean, if you go up north, like, pretty much anything that's, like, a half hour, like, outside of Essex County, everybody will say it's South Jersey, so I don't even know at this point. I mean, it's because like I also like know that I also like I dorm at Rider University, which is Lawrenceville, which is like right next to Trenton. So like that's more closer. I would say that's like the end of Central Jersey, maybe. arguably the end of Central Jersey, going
Trenton
into
is definitely South Jersey.
I don't know, man, because like I will say this: there are parts where I know where like people say sub. There are parts where I know people who say hoagie. So I'm like, I don't know.
Hold up, Taylor ham or pork roll?
I've never had either, so.
No, but what would you call it?
I don't know. Pork roll?
What, man?
You South Jersey.
That's all good.
No, but shit. I actually had a question, and we started talking about South Jersey Central. Shit. It was about Hub City. I think that was so dope that you got the big timers out there, because with my show up here, I remember like being in high school, I was surrounded by poets, and then now it's kind of a struggle to even find poets. Everybody, no offense, Pro, but everybody's rapping nowadays. So,
I can tell you why it's hard to find poets. I can tell you exactly why. And I think this is the problem with the poetry scene in Jersey right now. A lot of poets just want to read poetry readings. That's the problem. They don't want to go outside of their comfort zone. A lot of them, they don't want to go to younger crowds. They don't want to go to crowds of people who are like in their 20s and 30s. And, maybe those folks just want to get lit. But at the same time, you should try to like think outside the box, where you can like get something that works with them, but also gets across your message. That's why I try to do my stuff.
I like that.
And that's why like I'll try to do events that are outside of my box, or not outside my box, outside of my comfort zone. Like I've gone, and go to places like that are completely different demographics and like places I've never heard of. I did a crazy show once in South Jersey, and I mean South Jersey, like South enough to the point where I called it South. Like, it was down there, bro. It was Clementon.
Oh yeah, that's South.
Hence why it's South Jersey. But I did a show there at like this pub, which there was barely anybody there. But once again, I had like amazing connections there, and it was a different experience. I like to go outside of my comfort zone sometimes.
Oh, that's
or like a really good example would be Journey. He actually he takes me out to his I don't know like what exactly it's called. It's like spoken word something. I think it's just like a almost like a closed mic of people like he just puts together in Elizabeth, and like I'll go there, and that crowd, that's a tough.
I think I know
crowd.
Which one you're talking about.
That it's at First Republic Lounge.
Yeah.
I think that's where it is. Yeah, First Republic. And like that crowd, it's a tough crowd. Like for me personally, I really got to like fight for them to like, pay attention and like, listen. But I like that, even though for me, as a poet, it's probably tough because, as a poet, they tend to be more on the quiet side. But like, if you can find something that works, like people will think it's dope and people will listen.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what it's a major difference between just being a poet reading a poem out loud and spoken word. Because spoken word is right there in the middle, where with like, rappers and singers, you need crowd control. You need to be able to like, you're going to listen to me. So with spoken word, there's that attitude that you need when you're on stage. And that I've been doing Check It for like 2 years, and I've been wanting to do maybe this year or whenever the fuck we can go back outside, a poetry slam. But it's always been a challenge of mine to even
I can hit you up with all the slam poets you need.
Yeah.
I can grab the Goon Squad I know from up north.
The Goon Squad!
I can bring them out. Actually, because I know a lot of it's in like the Newark area and like the Union area. Like where me and Mr. E, like where we're doing stuff with slam. Actually, this sucks about the virus. Like the day, like the week that like everything shut down, I was supposed to compete in the finals to make the Newark Youth Slam team, and I had like a really good shot at making it. And I'm just like, God dang it, and it got canceled. And I'm like,
Damn.
But like I know mad contacts like up north with like people in Newark. I know like I can get people who are from the Newark Youth Slam team out, who are all great performers. I can get Big Mike, no problem. I can maybe get Roddy. Roddy's she's more hard to get, but she's nuts, man. She's amazing, and like so many other amazing slam performers that I can.
Shit. For somebody with, those people of that tier, the prize is going to have to be something. Shit.
Yeah,
man. I got plenty of time to think about it.
Asking, I was putting together a slam, like not like a competitive slam, but like a sharing, like a poetry slam sharing event, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like a couple of them were asking me about like, are you gonna pay me? And I'm like, oh man, it's like, oh man, and I was getting all nervous about that. But yeah, some of these folks are like high pay grade, they're top level stuff. Roddy, she was part of I think she's part of the Brooklyn Slam team at one point, and she was also part of the New Jersey Slam team.
Oh, and nice. Yeah, I know she was in the New Jersey Slam for sure.
Yeah, she was with Mr. E on that team, and they have a piece together, and it's insane. It's like, I don't even know where to start with that. Oh my God, dude, they mix together like, it's almost, they're talking about like, marijuana, right? And like, the struggle of like, it not being legal and all that, right? And they managed to mix in Mr. E, he's Jewish, and Roddy, she's black. Mr. E, they mix in topics of like the Holocaust and slavery into it. They somehow mix that into that, and it's like the lines they come up with are genius. They got a line in there where it's like, and to be frank, it's safer if you stash it in the attic. And I'm just like,
I gotta hear this. I gotta hear this.
There's like a video of it online. Like, they're nuts. Like that piece is crazy. But yeah, I can help you out with that. No problem.
That's very dope.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mr. E, man. Now, quick question: do you call him Mr. E or Mr. E?
What do you mean? Like, I call him Mr. E. Well, I know you might say that because his name's Eric, and you might see that as Mr. E. But like, I call him.
It's Mr. E.
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know, to be honest. Most of the times I just call him E.
His last name doesn't start with E?
No, his last name is Chandra, so no, it doesn't start with an E.
Oh, you didn't have to say it. So he says Mr. E as his first name, Mr. E.
Yeah.
And then Mr. E, if you don't know his name, it's a mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I was I forgot which live open mic I was watching, and he was part of it. And they're like, okay, the next one, because he was, going like, all right, on deck, blah, blah, blah. And he's reading it, and he's all up in his phone. He's just like, Miss, what? He just kept fucking it up. And people in the live chat are like, no, it's Mr. Like, they're saying it like Mr. and then E. That shit was funny. And he got on, he's like, and then he did his whole spiel to Mystery thing. So yeah, no, he's dope.
Oh, shout out to Mystery, man. Yo, and shout out to you as well, brother. You killed it during that Move Nation open mic.
Yeah. Next time, I didn't bring too many people though, so next time I'm gonna bring the Armada.
Yo, I mean, but the anticipation for you, because we couldn't get you on your regular
I built the hype, didn't I?
You had that shit hyped up. Bro, if they could all hear us, we were clapping, screaming for you. And then when you were on there on your mom's IG.
Yeah. It would be funny if like my mom like got like 500 followers from that or something like that. Something nuts like that.
No, but you killed it, man. I voted for you, by the way.
Yeah, I saw my guy. I got a worthy 6 votes. I was nice. But yeah, John he brought way more people.
And, no doubt. Shout out to John Mana, man. No, next time, like you said,
he's Armada. John Mana, dope producer, by the way. He makes his own beats. He like engineers stuff. Like he's dope dude. So shout out to him.
No doubt. That's what's up, man. Yeah, y'all both killed it, man. And also, X-Sick official.
He was dope. I when I was looking at the list of performers, I was worrying about him because I'm like, I seen videos of this guy. I seen videos. He go fast. He go real fast. I know that. Like,
we had a debate about that. Just because of the speed of the rap doesn't necessarily mean like, okay, that's the best shit out.
Yeah. I mean, my view on it. Here's my view on it. I think like as far as speedy flow goes, I think it's good like in moderation. Like I feel like Eminem is really good at that. Because he won't have like an entire verse be speedy, but he'll have like a certain section of it go like super fast, and when it happens, it's awesome.
Right.
Whereas if you do the whole thing, it's like it really kind of narrows down the audience, because it's really then more for only if you're like into that type of flow. I respect that type of flow though, so I think it's dope. And I thought it was super cool. Like he was doing flows around my head. Like, you know, he was definitely a very talented guy. I want to get out to events.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt that he killed it. And every time I've seen him online, he kills it as well. Like I saw him do the Godzilla challenge. Like it was on point. Like he killed that. As you know, there's no doubt in my mind. It's just after a certain while, if that's all you're gonna do, like contest wise, like I couldn't understand what you were saying. But you know, here's MI who's giving you a straight up acapella performance. I'm catching every line he's saying, dropping gems like a clumsy jewel thief. Like I'm catching all these fucking bars. Like
I used to go really fast. I used to go really, really fast, actually.
You used to go really fast?
Yeah, when I started out, like with, I want to say when I was 18, when I started off in the beginning when I was 18, I went really fast. Even in the Who Are You showcase when we met, I was kind of going like somewhat fast. Whereas now I take lots of pauses and I make sure every word is heard. And that's just a lot of advice from the people up north with Poetry Slam.
Yeah, man. You're certainly getting better with it, man. You get better with time, bro. You're 19. That's what it's for.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I don't know any famous athletes that wore 19. Sorry.
Well, no, I can't.
Exactly.
I can't think of something.
I can think of people who are born on the same day as me. Like, for example, a buddy of mine, Queso de Papa of Earth Supreme. It is also his birthday today. Shout out to him.
Shout out to him, man. That's what's up.
Also, technically, we both also share the birthday of Marvin Gaye, which is awesome.
Okay.
Oh,
all right,
shit,
so
I got soul.
It's technically your Marvin Gaye. you got soul, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Aries gang. I feel you. Yo, MI, real quick, man. We got to wrap it up, though, because we do have other guests. I want to thank you again for everything, for just talking to us, giving us your truth and your wisdom. We appreciate it as always. Please let them know where they can find you on social media and everywhere else.
Okay, so on Instagram, my name is Meanings Infinite. That's all one word, Meanings Infinite. And follow my page to learn about events that I'm putting together, content that I'm releasing, that sort of stuff. And that's pretty much it. All
right, my brother. Appreciate you. Yo, stay safe.
Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Bro. See you soon, man.
All right, peace.
See you.
All right, brother, man. And we back. I want to give a special huge shout out to Meanings Infinite, MI, for coming through the Lyrical Fix pod, giving us his knowledge, his truth, and his wisdom. Dude was a very, very dope individual.
Mm-hmm. No, it was fire. That was a really good one. Yeah, that was a dope interview with MI. A lot of shit that I didn't know, and it's fire. It's really fire. I never really got to talk to him because the only time I saw him in person was Hub City Smoke. That, rapper fucking Woodstock shit, which was a dope show.
No, he's dope, man. I was cutting the shit with him at one show with guests. We were just joking about like there being poetry awards, like if they're Grammys, what we call them, like jerseys, and we were just joking about shit like that. I had no idea about the mental institution thing he was talking about. That shit came out of nowhere.
I was just like, oh shit.
And I was like, do I go into it? I was like, should I do a timeout and be like, yo, do you want to talk about that? Like, I didn't want to get too into it.
No, but he was able. I think he did a good job with that one, though.
Yeah, no,
he talked about it and how it affects him, like and how I love that he kind of just did a switch, which I think happens for a lot of artists, especially when you as an artist, want to try something new. That whole like, you know what, I'm gonna give it my all. So I think that was pretty dope, though. I hope I can make that poetry slam fucking happen. So
something to think about now.
For sure.